the offer letters to those who have used offer letter query form. But still, I am saying that if you feel like there's some still problem, you have not received it, it's fine. We are looking into it. Share it through the query form again, okay? Or you can mail me. I will share your ID and your team name and ID. Okay, you can reach out to us through the query form. Okay, it's 4-1. All right. I hope all of you have joined. I request my team members to, I can see students still joining in. So I request my team members to let all the students in. Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you students and greetings from BharatCares. And I truly appreciate your enthusiasm and the kind of patience you all are having and the commitment you have shown towards this internship journey is commendable. So before we start with today's masterclass, I have some important announcements to make regarding the dashboard data and submission deadline. Okay. So I know there are some technical issues that many of the team members are facing. It is issues regarding removing the team members. I hear you. I can see your hands raised, and I see everything. But I want all of you to really focus on what I'm going to say. Okay. I want all of you to listen very carefully. So I understand that some of you are currently facing technical issues and with submissions and dashboard access, right? So I want to assure you all that the our team is actively working in the backend to resolve this issue, okay, and is handling all the queries, okay. So to ensure that you, the participants, get a fair opportunity to complete the internship, we are extending the deadline to 6th July 2026. I want all of you to keep trying from 5th only, like 4th, 5th, and 6th, because see what happens. There are so many students participating in the internship, right? And this huge bulk of students are using the dashboard all at once at the very same time. So that also creates some issues, okay. Network issue, you can say, or the technical glitch. So if one is able to upload, other is not able to upload, because there's not one or two students who are using the dashboard. There are like 15,000 plus students using it, right? So that also creates some kind of issues in the dashboard. So I don't want you to just like not try it, okay. And your deadline, that's why we have extended it to 6th of July. And one thing I really want you to understand, that even though you all are not able to submit your work, your learning plan completion, that does not mean that your effort has gone in vain. Because those of you who have completed your learning plan and your certificates are in your hand, I want my team members to move to the next slide, because I want to show you my certificate and why your completing your learning plan at the right time is is like it matters to us a lot. Because you can see the certificate on the screen, right? This is the certificate you all have received after completing the learning plan. Now, I want you all to see, look at the completion date below left hand side. It's 15 June, because I have completed the course on 15th June with the, okay. I request my team members to turn off the chat for some time, because I hear you, students. Prachi, Shrutika, I know, I hear you guys. Don't think for a second that we are ignoring your message. I'm able to see like Ghanashyam Murmu. So I can see all your messages. It's fine. Just drop your issue once. You don't have to send it twice or thrice to us in the chat box. I see all of that. Okay. But yes, thank you, team, for turning off the chat for a few minutes, because I want all of you to look at the screen. Please look at the screen. You can see this is the completion certificate you all have worked and you all have received, right? And right below on the left hand side, you can see the date is mentioned, right? That itself is a proof that you all have worked and completed your learning plan on time. So it is not that we are not looking at it. We are looking at it, and we appreciate that you have worked so hard, completed it before the deliverable time. And all I want you to know that there's some technical issue coming with the dashboard and its submission. But regarding that also, I by the end of this masterclass, I am going to again demonstrate the dashboard to you all. Means I am going to again open my ID and show you once, walk you through once more how you can, as a team leader, make changes, make the editings on, make edit on the IDs that you are sending queries regarding that, right? There are some team members who are sending queries like, ma'am, I want my email ID, this is not the correct email ID, this is not the correct name of the team members, right? I, is it right or wrong? Like, I want, if I'm right, just show some thumbs up. There are queries also regarding, yes, yes, I can, I know, because I've seen, we, our team has seen your queries, so I know that there are queries where you want to edit your IDs or team members IDs or name, right? So as a team leader, you can do that. So that's why I have seen there are some queries that don't require our attention also. You don't need our help to do that, to solve that. You yourself as a team leader can solve this. This is the work of the team leader in the dashboard. Okay. So I just want you to know that I am going to walk you through the dashboard at the end of this session. Okay. So that you are again made clear of the steps how you as a team leader can make this few changes and resolve your own issues all by your own. Okay. Okay, great. So now I think we are going to start the session. Okay, officially. Stay till the end because I will show you the dashboard. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so just give me one. Okay, wait. And there are some there are some queries I also received regarding concept note. If I just I remembered it right now. Regarding concept note, you will be introduced regarding that in your next masterclass, like masterclass 5. Okay. So no, I don't want all of you to like put much focus on the concept notes now because all these things will be cleared in the next masterclass. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us once again and for your continued enthusiasm and throughout this internship journey. So today we are going to start with a new topic, which is deploying the app on AWS. And in today's session, you will be gaining a conceptual understanding of application deployment on Amazon Web Services. So along with the theoretical concepts, our speaker will also provide a walkthrough of the AWS platform, helping you all become familiar with its interface, core services, and the tools used for deploying applications, right? The sessions will build a strong foundation for working with cloud technologies and prepare us for hands-on implementation in future sessions. So without taking much of your time, it's my pleasure to invite our esteemed speaker, Mr. Praneeth Valli, to lead today's masterclass. And over to you, Mr. Praneeth. Thank you so much. I wish all of you a wonderful learning experience. All the best. Over to
Thank,
you.
thank you, Tanmita. Thank you for clearing all the student queries, and that's so nice of you. And yeah, let's start with the master class. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the master class 4 of Gen AI and Cloud Computing, powered by IBM SkillsBuild and BharatCares. So today we are diving deep into our software engineering journey as we dive deep into cloud data, persistence, and API architecture. So up to this point in this series, you've learned how to build sleek, responsive front ends and clear backends connect with API endpoints up till now. But if we are honest, everything we've built so far has been an island, right? Island in the sense island is so isolated. So like today we going to change that. Like we are shifting our focus to the backbone of any real world production system. How our applications remember data, how they securely store heavy media assets, and how they handle complex, large scale AI context over the long haul. Clear? So we'll be completely focusing on cloud today. So if you want to transition from building weekend side projects to engineering robust enterprise ready cloud platforms, mastering the persistence layer is absolutely non-negotiable. So let's get started without wasting any much time. So let's move on to the first topic, the problem of ephemeral apps, right? So let's start by tackling a foundational concept in cloud development that catches almost every beginner off guard, the problem of ephemerality. Oh, so what is ephemerality and ephemeral apps, right? So let's take a close look at it. So when you deploy and run an application, container, or a compute instance in a cloud. So for suppose if you deploy and run your application in a cloud, whether that's on AWS EC2 instance, which I told in the last masterclass. EC2 instance is a serverless AWS Lambda function or a Docker function running on a virtual machine. So now our app's local memory is entirely volatile. Volatile in the sense it's not that strong, right? It will be fluctuating. So what do we mean by volatile? So we mean that the memory, like for example, the memory lives and dies with the life cycle of the execution environment. So there is no endpoint to that app memory, right? So if your application server restarts, encounters a critical runtime execution error, or it crashes, or scales down due to traffic, huge traffic. So absolutely everything held in that server's temporary RAM or local disk, which actually vanishes instantly. So it won't be stored for a long time. So the memory is temporarily stored, right? It will vanish after some time. So in a modern cloud environment, compute instances are treated like cattle, not pets. They are designed to be destroyed and replaced at a moment's notice. Therefore, to build a real world reliable systems, we cannot allow our application logic to be tied to our data state, right? We must completely decouple our compute layer from our storage layer by introducing a dedicated persistent database tier, right? We can't be like, you can't erase memory every time. And when a new user comes, when he search any query on your website or an app, if your app is deployed on AWS, so there is temporary RAM or hard disk, as I said. Every time it clears your memory. You can't be living on that for so long. You need a persistent database tier for it, for your memory to be stored for a long time. Consider it as a CCTV camera footage. Like what he says, usually the network engineer guy who sets up the CCTV camera, he says there is a hard disk connected to your system, and the memory will be cleared after 6 months. It won't be stored for a long time. It may be cleared after 1 month, 2 months, or even 6 months. It depends. The same way, for our application, we need a dedicated persistent database tier. Clear? So let's learn what is it. What's the ephemeral app problem? So I'll give you a real life scenario. Okay. Imagine a student or a user logs into a brand new AI startup platform. Let's say this popular startup platform, uh, Y Combinator. Let's say Y Combinator. Y Combinator is a popular AI startup platform where you can pitch your startup idea to them. You need to mail them your pitch deck and all your details, product requirement document, and everything. If they like your idea, they will sponsor you. They will invest in your app or an idea, right? So imagine a student logs into a brand new this Y Combinator startup platform, right? So they are having a fantastic, highly productive brainstorming session with your AI companion. So they are mapping out new ideas for new startups. So now they have gone back and forth for 10 times, refining plot points and character arcs. So they are refining their own ideas, right? Suddenly, entirely hidden from a user, a server restart is initiated. So when the user is sharing his idea on the platform, server restart is suddenly initiated. So this happens 1,000 times a day in a production. So in a production ready app. So your team, there should be a backend team who is pushed to fix all these bugs, all these restart errors, or the cloud provider application. So these instances are spun up to run a fresh container instance because the platform, AI platform, was entirely stateless and stored nothing outside of the active RAM. So whatever the user is sharing, the data, his ideas, because it has an active RAM, it clears all the memory after some time, as I said. So it doesn't have a dedicated cloud. So what happens? The connection drops for a split second. The page refreshes, the page crashes down, and the user tries to hit refresh button. He just returns to the blank screen and he gets the error called chat history unavailable, all the data lost. He needs to again sign up. He needs to again log in and give his idea. Again, this thing happens. So think of it like writing a brilliant 10-page essay on an old desktop computer. Old desktop computer in the sense you remember those white color PCs, dabba PCs, like this small pieces where we used to play Vice City. So those type of old desktops where Windows XP used to run. So imagine writing a 10-page essays on that old desktop only for someone to pull out the power cord outside your wall. So suddenly the PC turns off. So without saving the data, without saving any database, so imagine you've written it till the 10th page. Suddenly the power goes off. You didn't save the data. What happens? Everything vanishes. So every time the server blinks, the user experience is wiped clean. Same thing happens with this ephemeral problem. This is called ephemeral app problem, where a user stores data in the website and the data stores the data only for some time. After some time, it clears the user data. The user need to again give the data and the chat history clears, right? This is called ephemeral app problem. To avoid this problem, we need a dedicated cloud architecture. Clear? So let's deep dive into this concept more. Let's learn about it. So what about writing to a file, right? So at the after a few minutes of theory, we are going to take you through a walkthrough of the AWS platform, which you will be using to deploy the app. But before that, you need to know how actually the AWS works, right? The platform works. So now let's anticipate the natural engineering instinct. When developers first realize their application has this short time memory, amnesia, like clearing the data instantly, forgetting the data, and again the user need to give new data again. Let's term this as amnesia or short term memory. Imagine your application has a short term memory. It clears the data every time. So why do I need a whole separate database vendor for this? Why can't I just use standard Python or Node.js system files to open standard JSON file, append the user data, and save it directly to the server's local hard drive? Why to use a cloud? Right? Did you understand the question? The question is that to avoid this ephemeral problem, why should we use cloud? Why can't we use our own local servers where the data is stored inside the user's system, inside the user local memory? Why can't we do that? It sounds simple, it sounds clean, and it requires zero configuration. We don't need to spend money for cloud. It saves money, it saves time. But let's pull back the curtain on the modern cloud computing architecture and discuss exactly why that logic fails completely in production environment. Why we can't actually store our data locally. Why that thing fails. So let's look into it. Right. So saving a user data into a local file works perfectly fine when you are running the backend code, the script on your personal laptop or a personal computer, because your system, your computer acts as a single centralized permanent machine. It has all the backend code, it has all the files set up. So in the previous masterclass, we deployed it to the local server. Unless we deploy it, we cannot run the astrology app, Nakshatra, on my system. We need to deploy it first. In the same way, your laptop acts as a single centralized permanent machine. The moment you move your application data or your website data to cloud computing instances like AWS EC2 or serverless environments like AWS Lambda, that approach breaks down entirely due to three fatal errors, due to three scenarios. First one, ephemeral local disks. As I said, just like the RAM we discussed, what does a RAM do? Random access memory. Like whenever we are using an application, imagine we have 8 GB of RAM. We are playing GTA 5 on our desktop. There we have 8 GB of RAM. The RAM uses uh, some 4 GB for the game we are playing, GTA 5, and 4 GB is left. If you open any other browser or any other website or any other app running in the background, it uses more 1 GB. So total we use 5 GB of RAM out of 8 GB. So once we stop playing the game, once we exit the game, GTA 5, the RAM returns back to its original state, which is 8 GB of RAM. Once if we close all the applications, it returns back to the original state. Waste 8 GB of RAM. Again, if we open any file, again it consumes random access memory, and then we are left with only 7 GB of RAM. It depends on the application we are using. In the same way, whenever we are accessing a website or an app, when the user tries to store data in that app, it has a RAM. So if the application or a website doesn't have a cloud setup, just like RAM, after we close the game, it returns back to its original state. After we close the app, again, if we open the app, the data which we give is not stored because it doesn't have a cloud setup, right? This is called ephemeral problem, ephemeral local disks. So if AWS terminates your server instance to scale down or apply updates, that local hard drive is completely deleted. Your saved text, saved files, saved memory will be completely wiped out, right? So this is called ephemeral problem. That's problem number one. What is problem number two? Multi-state, multi-instant state nightmare. What is it? The multi-instant state nightmare. What is it? So imagine your application or a website becomes so popular, right? Imagine some lakhs of people are coming to your website daily, right? So you auto scale your backend from one server instance to 5 servers to handle all the traffic. Instead of one server, you will be needing 5 servers. Imagine you took 5 servers to handle all the traffic, heavy traffic. If a user uploads data that lands on server A, it gets returned to server A's local hard drive. If their very next click gets routed to load balancer to server B, server B has its own completely isolated file system. So to the user, it looks like their data randomly vanishes and reappears depending on which server answers their request. There is zero shared state. Like, imagine we are having 5 servers to control the traffic. When the user is storing any data, we don't know whether it will be stored in server A, server B, server C, D, E. We have 5 servers. So it might be stored in any of the 5 servers. We don't know that. So for suppose if it gets stored in server A, again he closes the app and opens it back. Now it stores in server B. Other time he closes and opens again. It stores in server E. So there is no continuity. There is zero shared state in the sense it won't show the same data across all the 5 servers. The user will be confused because the data will be suddenly vanishes and reappears in other server. So there is no continuity. So this is called multi-instance state nightmare, right? This is the second problem. Coming to third problem. What is the third problem? Concurrency and security chaos. What is concurrency and security chaos? So let's say your raw files, raw data offer absolutely zero concurrent write safety. There is no safety for your raw data. Imagine if two users click save at the exact millisecond, right? At the exact millisecond, you click at the same time, the other user also click at the same time, at the same second. There is no absolute difference. So what the system will do? Your script will attempt to write the same file simultaneously, results in immediate data corruption. Whenever you and the other user are accessing the app at the same time, storing the data at the same time, it might result in data corruption because both files are running simultaneously. So furthermore, raw data provides no structured query capabilities. That means to find one message, you have to load a massive text file entirely into the memory. And they offer no automated recovery backups. If your raw data gets lost or corrupted, there is no recovery option. You can't restore the memory, right? So this is the other problem because the data you have is raw. There might be a problem of corruption. If other user also uses it at the same time, the data might get corrupted, right? And once it gets corrupted, it offers no backups, right? So these are the three reasons for not storing the user data into the local memory. Clear? So the verdict is absolute. Local file systems are for temporary processing. Local file systems are for testing. That's it. We did the same in the previous masterclass. After deploying it locally and running it on localhost 3000 on both front end and back end, we are not giving it to the other person to use. Even some student asked me a question, sir, can you share the app with me? I cannot share. Why? Because I deployed that app into my system, not his system. If he can deploy the same app into his system, he can use, right? So local file systems are for temporary usage, temporary testing, not for long-term persistence. The only clean solution to this is opting for a completely independent database tier. You need to have a separate database for your website or an application. Clear? Right. That's the reason why we are not opting for local file system. We need to have a database. I hope it's clear till now. Let's move forward. Let's cover the other concepts. Right. Already saw we know the architecture, right? The database tier. I'm going to explain you again. Now we have an firmly established the critical dangers of local database system. So now let's step out of the problem space and enter the solution space. What is the solution for it? Let's explore how an isolated independent database tier seamlessly integrates into modern software engineering to act as your application's permanent, unshakable, long-term memory. Right? Let's know how. If you look at the figure in front of you, there are three tiers. Let's break down this architecture piece by piece. As this represents the absolute industry standard, three-tier application architecture, right? So let's break it down. In tier one, the client layer, you know what is that front end, which has overall UI UX of your app at the very top. So we have user interacting with the browser or a mobile device. This is built using front end technologies, React, Next.js, Vue, or HTML or JavaScript. So this layer is entirely responsible for user experience and interface presentation. So it does not touch the data directly. Instead, when an action happens, when a user performs an action in your app, it packages the action into a standard HTTPS request, REST API call, and transmit it down your network. So that's when we enter into the tier 2, second layer, the logic layer. We can also call it as backend API server. In the middle sits our compute engine written in frameworks like Node.js, Python Fast API, or Go. So the backend server acts as a gatekeeper. It authenticates the incoming requests from frontend, checks user permissions, calls the API, applies business logic, and decides what data needs to be fetched or updated. Clear? Now comes the third layer, tier 3, the data tier, persistence layer. At the very bottom sits our permanent storage layer or document storage layer. So notice how this layer is split into two distinct parts. If you can see right here, it is split into two distinct parts. One is highly structured relational or document data like user credentials or payment records and chat history, right? Uh, Now, this data is sent straight into our database such as PostgreSQL or MongoDB, any database you can use. Meanwhile, large, heavy, unstructured binary assets like user images, PDFs, audio files, video files are completely offloaded to a specific object storage called S3, which is in the AWS platform. So get the difference, understand the difference. So at the bottom of the layer, it is divided into two parts. One is highly structural databases like PostgreSQL or MongoDB, which stores your chat history, payment records, or user credentials, right? But to store complex data, like images, videos, audio files, and all that huge number of data, huge file sizes, we need to use object storage, which is called S3. This is, we can use this in the AWS platform. Clear? Done? So this is the entire architecture. By separating these concerns, each layer can scale, fail, and update entirely independent of the others. So all these three layers work independently to give the output, the right output, right? So this is the database tier, right? Your three-tier application architecture, right? I hope it's clear. So let's move forward, right? So we'll now learn about the database tier principles. So if you can look at this, what are the database tier principles? So the ultimate architectural takeaway from this design is a core principle you must memorize. Keep your compute layer completely stateless and your database layer stateful. What does that mean? So your database layer must run entirely independent of your backend application servers. It doesn't matter if it is a fully managed cloud service like AWS or RDS or external platform like Supabase, Railway or something. It doesn't matter. So you need to run that inside an isolated Docker container on a separate network because the backend API servers are completely stateless. As I said, they hold no vital data variables in memory. If a massive traffic wave hits away, like for suppose if 5 lakh people using the application at once, you can seamlessly scale your backend compute layer from one instance to 100 instances in few seconds. Each new instance simply acts as a stateless conduct, querying the same centralized, highly protective, stateful database tier. If container crashes, for suppose your isolated Docker container crashes, it is immediately destroyed. A new one takes its place, and your user experience absolute loses zero data or interruption. Right? This is how the database works. The external database works. Let it be AWS or Supabase or Railway or any other external AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. This is how it works actually. I'll explain again. Your database must run entirely on your backend application servers. So it should run inside an isolated Docker container on a separate network, so that when thousands of users or lakhs of users are headed towards your app or website, you can seamlessly scale your backend layer from one instance to 100 instances in seconds, so that each new instance simply acts as a stateless conduct, right? So that even if one instance crashes, the app still runs because there are 99 other instances. So it will cause no data loss or no interruption or no crash. Clear? This is how a database works. So we'll learn it how should what data should be persisted. So I'll clear all your doubts at the end of the master class. So for now, just focus on the theory I'm explaining. Clear? Right. So what data should be persisted? As we design an AI driven system, an AI driven platform, what exact components must we choose to save permanently in our data tier? Like we need to store our user credit for suppose if a user is registering on our platform. Okay. his user credentials must be permanently stored in our platform. There should not be any data loss, right? So, for that, what type of data we should use? Let's look. User accounts and profiles is the first one. This is the baseline. We must store unique user IDs, emails, auth tokens, and cryptographically hash passwords to ensure secure credentials and access control. Like there might be uh, some lakhs of users registering in your platform. For each user, there should be a unique user ID, unique password, unique code. So whenever he again comes back to your website, he should access, right? For that, all these things like auth tokens, user IDs, email auth tokens, hashed passwords are very important. So these type of data is first step, user accounts and profiles. Second comes conversation histories. For any generative AI or LLM application, we must preserve every single chat, the exact prompt the user typed, and the exact completion the assistant returned, the exact result the AI returned, along with precise timestamps so that the user has a fluid history tag. So, for suppose you made a chatbot, just like Perplexity or ChatGPT, Claude. So, whenever user is asking a prompt, so again he comes back after 10 days, there should be a chat history, the exact timestamp, what question user asked, what answer the AI gave. So, there must be conversation histories preserved. Second thing. Third thing, file metadata. So, we don't put raw files in database, as I said. Storing raw files means it may cause data corruption, right? So, but we must absolutely store their records. How? This includes tracking the exact uh, unique Amazon S3 key given to each file, the original file name, the upload date, the file size, and the explicit owner ID. For each file you store on the AWS platform, it gives a unique Amazon S3 key, S3 bucket key, the original file name, the upload date, the file size, and the explicit owner ID, right? So that there won't be any confusion. So next thing is AI generated embeddings to enable advanced semantic context searching. We store the high dimensional vector arrays and generated by embedding models. Like we also store the AI generated outputs, the embedding models, the backend context search, each data of AI also in the backend. For this, we also use AWS. And the last thing is system logs and analytics. Capturing backend logs, token usage counts, and processing performance metrics allows us to monitor costs and optimize our application speed over time. This is called system logs and analytics. That means we can know the token usage, right? The backend logs, the processing power, the performance metrics, everything we should know to increase the performance of the application. So these are the five things. These are the five types of data we need to store inside an app to run it successfully. Clear? So what are the three types of databases we need? As an engineer stepping into modern AI landscape, you will no longer live in a world where one database fits every scenario. Instead, you will primarily work with three types of database paradigms. What are those three types? We have relational SQL databases, document NoSQL databases, and last one, vector databases. So, what are these three? Let's learn about relational databases, relational SQS, which is the gold standard for PostgreSQL, right? So in relational database, data can lose or become unpredictable. It must strictly conform to predefined rigid blueprint. There should be a predefined blueprint known as fixed schema, right? Think of it like a highly structured spreadsheet collection where data is organized neatly in a specific rows and columns. So the tables link to one another seamlessly using explicit relationship managed via primary keys and foreign keys, right? So crucially, relational engines guarantee total ACID compliance, which stands for ACID stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. ACID, right? What is it full form? Atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. This means every single transaction is all or nothing. So if a multi-step operation fails at step 9 out of 10, the database rolls completely as if nothing ever happened. This absolute transactional security makes relational databases the undisputed industry choices. It's the golden standard, right? So let it be e-commerce, let it be financial transactions, or any other systems where a single missing decimal point means catastrophic system failure. So to combat this, we use relational database. I explain again what is relational database. Relational database must have a predefined data stored in a sheet. It has two things. What are those two things? Primary key and foreign key, right? So it follows acid compliance, where even if one step fails out of 10 steps, the data rolls back again and there won't be any system failure because one data is connected to other data. It has a relation between all the tables, all the rows and columns. If you see here in this diagram, it is connected here in this order. Again, this is connected to the third order. So this is like a relation between all types of data. So even if one step fails, the app won't crash. This is called relational data, relational SQL. Clear? Right. So let's move on to the next one. But before moving on to the next one, we'll know its benefits. What is the first benefit? It supports JSON columns. What is a JSON file? JSON file is a text file written in a particular format, in a coding format, right? In if you remember in the first masterclass, we gave a prompt. Give this in a JSON format, right? It gave a JSON file. So it supports the JSON file types, JSON columns. Second advantage is that it is extensible. You can add vector supports. You can increase its support to other database, or you can increase its support to other systems as well. Third one, it is most widely used in all the websites and applications. That's why it's called as the gold standard. Even Amazon uses the e-commerce website, even banking website use. So all these popular companies use SQL, relational databases. Clear? So let's come to NoSQL, document relation, right? What is NoSQL? Right. So what happens when your data structure refuses to stay locked inside a rigid box? What if your data formats are changing dynamically or natively hierarchical? Like it changes its data position or it changes its data formats automatically. That brings us to NoSQL document database, which is led by MongoDB. and Firebase Firestore. Instead of tables, columns, and rows, where we saw in the relational database, we have tables, columns, and rows. In NoSQL database, right, stores information as independent flexible entities called documents. There are no rows, no columns. It stores the data independently, typically utilizing JSON format, because there is no fixed schema at the database level. Remember, in relational database, we need to have a fixed schema, fixed data set, so that it gives the output. But in NoSQL, we don't have that fixed schema, fixed data set, right? Because there is no fixed schema at the database level, your data structure can change instantly from one entry to the next. For example, in a social media app or an activity log feed, one document might record a simple three-word text comment. The very next document might contain some other data structure which might confuse the users, right? So to combat this, we use NoSQL database. NoSQL environments scale out horizontally with ease, making the sharing easily. Disturbing documents across a cluster of multiple cheap machines, making them a phenomenal choice for massive chat logs, system audit histories, content management systems, and product catalogs, where data definitions shift rapidly. To give a simple example, lakhs of people every day order on Amazon, not one product, but different products. One orders phone, one orders shampoo, one orders cooking set. They might order multiple things. So one user will have multiple data histories, multiple data logs, like he ordered shampoo now. At 5 o'clock, he might order a phone. At 6 o'clock, he might order skincare products. So, this is for one user. Imagine lakhs of users across the whole world. To store these data, this type of massive chat logs, system audit histories, and content management systems, we use NoSQL. Clear? So that the app won't crash down without any confusion. Clear? So what is the advantage? What is the trade-off is that NoSQL database generally exchange ACID transaction consistently compared to relational database. Furthermore, because documents are designed to be self-contained, NoSQL engines lack powerful native multi-table join operation that SQL database perform out of the box. Like if you attempt to link dozens of collections together in NoSQL, you end up writing massive application logic loops. That means it is very complex. To handle these complex states, it is handled by MongoDB database and Firestore. Clear? To handle this huge complex data. So for this purpose, we use NoSQL. We cover two: relational database, NoSQL, document database. Third one comes vector database. So what is a vector database? So if we look at large language model applications, for suppose ChatGPT or Claude, text cannot be queried using old school keyword matching. If we want the true intelligence, for suppose LLMs, large language models, translate real world concepts like user sentences, user images, or reference manual, whatever we give to the AI, into long array of numbers called embeddings. Clear? So these embeddings that mathematically capture semantic meaning. So a vector database is engineered from ground up to do one thing exceptionally well. What is that thing? store indexes, and map out these floating point lists into a massive database, right? So this unlocks the power to perform similarity searches utilizing advanced algorithms like k near k algorithms to calculate the exact mathematical distance between mathematical concepts, right? Instead of looking for exact matching words, a vector database locates ideas, context, and intent that match the core meaning of user questions. To give simply, whenever you search something on Google, it gives you some suggestions. Whenever I type the letter I, it might give anything. It will give India, it will give Iran, it will give any other suggestion, it will give ice cream. Whatever, whenever I type I, it will give all the suggestions. So, why it will give suggestions? Because the LLM is using vector databases, which will act like how we think, right? So to run this, there are so many mathematical algorithms like k nearest neighborhoods, which are doing this process. So suppose, let me share my screen to make it understand in a more simpler way. So for suppose I type O, no, not this. Let's go to Google search engine directly, right? And here let's type O. It's giving Outlook, OLX, Obsession, the film, online betting. Okay, let's type I. IPL, Instagram, India versus England, IPL schedule, IRCTC, P, Pinterest, PDF, PNR status. This is nothing but the vector databases which LLM is using, right? So, this is exactly what our vector databases actually do. Clear? So, they perform powerful similarity searches. Whatever the user is typing, it will suggest. Clear? This is called vector database, right? It should do only one thing clearly, that is store indexes. So storing indexes means whatever I type, it will give suggestions. It will give indexes. Clear? So what are the use cases of vector databases? Let's see what are the use cases. So whether that's dedicated engines like Pinecode, vector databases run on a few systems like Pinecode, Qdrant, Postgres with PG vector. So these are a few technical words which you will know as you understand. So these are responsible for RAG, retrieval augmented generation. What is retrieval augmented generation? The thing which I did right now. Whenever I type I, it's giving India versus England. So it's giving suggestions. So it is called retrieval augmented generation. The AI is guessing whatever I type. So based on which system it's running on vector databases, right? So when a user asks what is our corporate policy on remote working allocations, your system first embeds the question, queries the vector spaces, okay, instantly extracts the exact mathematical paragraphs containing the corporate policy and feeds the raw data chunk into the LLM. Now the LLM reads the context, outputs a perfectly accurate response. So vector databases are the bridge that gives LLM as an external scalable knowledge base. Vector database acts as a bridge between the user and the LLM to give the accurate output. Clear? That's why we use vector databases, right? So if we compare the types of databases, which is SQL, NoSQL, and vector databases, Clear? The schema is fixed for SQL. As I said, there is a fixed schema, right? But for no SQL, there can be fixed schema or no. It is flexible, right? We can either give a fixed schema or we can leave it as it is. But vector database has fixed dimensions, fixed vector dimensions, so that it will give all the inputs to the LLM. So the schema is fixed for SQL, it is flexible for NoSQL, and it is fixed for vector. Clear? I want you to screenshot this to understand the differences better. Coming to queries, SQL can handle complex JSON queries. Clear? Coming to NoSQL, it can handle both complex and simple queries, right? Coming to vector databases, it is mostly used for similarity search, like whatever we ask, it will suggest beforehand, right? Coming to the scaling, we can scale SQL, but up to a limit. We can vertical scale. Vertical scale means there will be a limit for the scaling. Coming to NoSQL, the scaling method is horizontal. Clear? That means horizontal scaling in the sense the user, as I said, NoSQL can handle no complex databases, large number of chat logs. So the users can scale the data. That's why we use horizontal scaling. Again, vector databases, we need to know everything the user is typing. That's the reason why we use horizontal scaling. Clear? So, which database is best for you? So, both, all of the three are best for each case. There is specific use case for each. No, SQL is best for user profiles, storing user IDs, passwords, keys, and everything. NoSQL is used for storing your chart logs, orders, and other things, complex data. Vector database is used for RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to give the accurate output without any hallucination, right? Even RAG, using RAG, the concept, we can skip AI hallucination because RAG will give better output compared to the generic AI output. Clear? So yes, these are some of the key features of the three types of databases. I hope it's clear. So as we move forward, you will understand it better. Clear? So let's move forward. Okay. So before moving forward, I would like to ask you a question. So have you tried building the apps? If so, till the previous masterclass, I built astrology app, but I don't know which kind of app you built. So I want you to comment in the comment box what type of app you made. So you can answer in the comments chat box the app you made in this masterclass, in this series of masterclasses. Study assistant, cyber security app, India's got latent. Okay. AI career mentor, e-commerce website, Nakshatraverse. Okay. Nakshatraverse, in the sense it is also an astrology app. Healthcare assistant, AI resume builder app. I tried to build a chatbot, ATS scanner. Okay, most of them are building an app. Most of them built an app. Fine. Cyber risk guardian. Nice. Find love partner. Okay, it's like a dating website, I guess. Chatbot, campus assistant, AI learner. I made the same app name Cosmos. Okay, astrology app. Okay. Okay. So all of you are well aware. You also are with me building an app. Have you deployed it on the local server? Type yes or no. Answer me in the comments whether you deployed it on the local server or not. No, no, not now, until now. No, no. You need to be fast because by the next masterclass, we'll be deploying it from local server to the cloud. So just be fast. So by the next masterclass, you need to deploy it on the local server, right? Okay. I request my team members to close the chat box so that we'll continue with the class. Deploying is hard. Can you give tips? So you can watch the YouTube live session of the previous masterclass. I explained it twice. So you can watch the same thing and mimic that thing again. You watch my video and deploy it in your system. Clear? If you have any doubts, we will clarify it at the end of the masterclass. Right. So there are many types of databases we can use, as I said in the previous masterclass, but we are opting for AWS. But there are many alternatives like Supabase. So Supabase is also an alternative open source database platform which is built on PostgreSQL. Right? It is also S3 compilent, so it is easy. It handles queries, but for the free tier, it offers 1 GB of file storage and 500 MB of database. That means uh, you can't exceed 500 MB and 1 GB of file storage. If you exceed, you need to actually upgrade your free tier to paid tier. Clear? Okay. This is one alternative. Choosing the right database for your feature history. So we need to choose the right database for storing our chart history. So a question to you guys, one more question. Which database we use to store chat logs, recipients, payment histories, and transactions? Option, I'm typing the question in the chat box. Which database we use for storing the transaction history, chat logs, and key points? Complex logs. Option A, SQL. Option B, no SQL. Option C, vector. Answer me in the chat box. Which database we use for storing the transaction history, chat logs, and complex logs? Option A, SQL. Option B, no SQL. Option C, vector database. So I request my team to open the chat box. Option B. I'm receiving mixed answers, but yeah, let's see. Option C, option C. Why option C? Vector database is usually done for semantic searches, not for chat logs, complex logs. Option A is also not correct. Why? Because we use SQL relational database for storing user IDs, hash passwords, unique usernames, and everything. What is the right answer? It is no SQL. No SQL. We use to store, we use it to store transaction histories, chat logs, payment transactions, everything. Right? I think you need to recap this table. User profiles, orders, chat logs, catalogs, embeddings, RAG. Right? Screenshot this so that you won't forget. Okay, let's move forward. This is the example scheme of PostgreSQL. This is what an SQL code looks like. Okay, create table conversation, create table messages. For each conversation, you need to create a table. For each domain, you need to create a table. He created a table for conversation, ID, serial, primary key. I said two keys, primary key and secondary key, right? Sorry, primary key and foreign key. He used primary key for this, right? So he created a timestamp for messages. So this is the code of PostgreSQL, right? You don't need to code because we are using cloud. So cloud will do all the work. You just need to know how to use the cloud platform, AWS platform, right? So let's move to the next concept, embeddings and vector databases. So as I said, you will be needing them for generating the accurate results using RAG, retrieval augmented memory, augmented generation. So we have discussed this before, right? So now let's discuss an important concept, why object storage files are not database records. So why we use object storage technique, right? So traditional relational and document databases, like for suppose SQL and NoSQL, are engineered, optimized, excuse me, right, guys. So traditional relational and document databases are engineered, optimized, and cached to process ultra lightweight data types like strings, integers, booleans, and small dates. They are fundamentally not built to handle massive binary objects, right? Imagine a user uploads a high resolution 10 megabyte, 10 MB profile picture, and your backend attempts to convert the entire image file into a massive string of binary text to save it straight into your SQL table, right? If you do this, your database size will blow up exponentially in a matter of days. That's for only one user. Imagine lakhs of users are storing their profile pics. So the database's internal memory will become instantly saturated with heavy image data, pushing out your index trees. As a result, basic queries like checking a user's password or fetching a chat name will slow down from milliseconds to minutes, which makes your app completely slow, right? So the universal non-negotiable practice is clear. We need to store the binary file inside a highly scalable, hyper inexpensive object storage. So what is an object storage? Object storage is a service which is available on Amazon S3. We need to store our data in object storage. Why? Because its small, lightweight, text-based reference URL path will becomes easy to run your whole platform. Whenever a user gives his image, his 25 MB or 30 MB image, there will be no app crash. The image will be stored and the application will run very smooth. So that's the reason we use object storage, which is available in Amazon S3, right? Let's move forward. This is the S3 bucket, which stores all your images, PDFs, audios, videos, all the files of the users. Clear? Right. So how actually Amazon S3 works? We'll look at it. Why Amazon S3 is called the industry standard. So Amazon S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. Shortcut is S3. So S3 is designed to deliver 99.9% durability, making it practically impossible to lose an asset once indexed. That means if a user store a particular data, there won't be any memory loss. It will be stored once it's stored. There is no chance of erasing. So S3 organizes data utilizing into three building blocks. First one, buckets. Second one, objects. Third one, keys. Come to bucket. Bucket act as your top level cloud storage directory. So every bucket you create have a completely unique name across your AWS platform. Let's come to objects. Objects represent the physical file, whether it's PNG, PDF, JPEG, whatever file the user is storing, it is called as object. Clear? So alongside any custom metadata tags you attach to it, S3 allows single objects to scale all the way to massive 5 TB of storage. That means one user can store up to 5 terabyte of memory, can scale up to 5 terabyte. Clear? Coming to keys. Keys represent the explicit relative file path destination of the object inside the bucket. For example, if you see this here, this is the key for each file you store. Users /123 slash profile.png. If you are storing a MP3 file, it might be user /123.mp3. Clear? But it has a price. So in the free, we can also use a free tier, which I'm going to show you right now. Clear? So this is how an S3 bucket works. I'll explain you this, what is a private bucket, what is a public bucket, and we can go to hands-on, right? So to protect this database, your file, you must explicitly architect your bucket access based on data sensitivity. S3 buckets are split into two types: public buckets, private buckets. Clear? So what is a public bucket? Anyone on the internet who guesses or copies the URL string can instantly view or download the file. This is called a public bucket. For suppose your file is available for other users publicly, they can download, they can view. This is perfectly fine for non-sensitive data like company logos, e-commerce product listings, user avatars, or any stock-free images, which is highly insensitive. Sorry, which is highly non-sensitive, which is public data, which you can share freely with anyone. This is called a public bucket. What is a private bucket? Private bucket stands for an absolute access blocks by default. It has high security, Public requests are completely blocked. People who don't have access to your bucket cannot view or download the files because it is highly insensitive. It is protected. Only your explicit backend server, authenticated via AWS, has permission to see what's inside the bucket. Not everyone can access the bucket. This is the difference between a public bucket and a private bucket. You can choose between these two depending on the sensitivity of your data. Clear? Right. So we'll now look at the hands-on of the Amazon platform, AWS platform. So let's go to the browser. Okay, let's type AWS. Okay. Now this is the platform where you can see this is the home page. Now you need to create an account if you don't have one. How to create an account? You need to enter your user ID, account name. You can choose any name you want. Verify email address. So a verification code will be sent to you. So after sending a verification code, after typing it here, you need to sign up the more details. And after that, it will ask you to pay. Don't worry. You can give your UPI details or credit card or debit card details. It will credit, not credit. It will debit just 1 rupee from your account. Right? And again, after 2 days, it will credit it back. This is for verification. So you don't need to worry that we will lose money. No. If you connect your UPI and pay, it will cut only 1 rupee. After 2 days, you will get your 1 rupee back. This is verification process. So you don't need to worry about it. You can happily do it without any worry. Clear? I already have an account, so I don't need to sign up. I can just log in. Clear? So let me log in. Let me close this thing right here. Let me reshare my screen. So I'm already logged in. Clear? So go to sign in, click on sign into console. So this is your AWS homepage after you set up your account. Okay. This is your command center. Whether you're an AI developer or an IT manager or a business leader exploring cloud infrastructure, you need to understand how to navigate this platform. So now we are logged into Asia specific Sydney region. You can change it to Hyderabad. You can change it to Mumbai. You can change the region based on your choice. So, but always verify you are working on the right one. Clear? Right. So this is the home page. Think of it as a dashboard. So if you go to search bar at the top, you can search for any service you want. AWS offer different type of services like EC2. You can just search for it and use it. This is the EC2 dashboard, right? So here you can see credits remaining $100, days remaining 126 days. So we can use it because it's a free account. So we can go to instances and we can, of course, create a instance. So we will be doing that in the next masterclass. Now we are just walking through the platform. Search S3. This is the S3 bucket feature. Okay. So here you can create a bucket. So here you can name your bucket. We'll be doing that in the next masterclass in detailed way. So this is how where you need to create your S3 bucket to store your application or a website. Clear? These are all the endpoints, directory buckets. Okay. This region is not supported. Okay. So I will change this region to North Virginia. So if your region is not supported, we need to change it to other region. Here it supports North Virginia. We can create a bucket, right? So we'll be looking in depth in the next masterclass. That is the search bar. So your best friend, whatever service you would like to use, you can type here simply. It will also show you the recently visited pages. We recently visited EC2 instance S3. So it will view all the pages you recently viewed, right? So on the top left corner, there is this button, three dots. If you click on all services, here are all services Amazon AWS is offering. There are number of services which you can use. Here is EC2, here is Lambda, here is S3 bucket, here is security IAM, which I said, what is IAM? You need to provide security for your website or your application. You need to use this IAM, security IAM. AWS artifact, there are many other features. So this is a process. We won't be using all these features. So we'll be using S3 bucket for deploying our app or a website from local storage to the cloud storage. We'll be using this S3 in the next masterclass. Clear? Right. So this is the console. Again, if you click on the console, you will be redirected to the home page. Here you can see the cost and usage of your application. Here you can see the AWS health. What is AWS health? Like whatever service you are using, if there is a problem, there might be errors. So how many more errors are there? That depends on your AWS health. The number of errors is equal to your AWS health. Right now, my AWS account is healthy. It doesn't have any issues. So my health is fine. My app's health is fine. There are no issues. Clear? So here are the solutions, templates which we can use directly. Right here, if you want to upgrade the plan, you need to simply click here. Right? For you, once again, I'll show you the signing up process so that you will understand it better. Right? So this is the AWS platform. It is simple. All you need to do is you need to be good with those keywords, the words which I use, the cloud words, the vocabulary, cloud vocabulary, EC2 instance, S3 bucket, IAM. You need to be good with all these words so that you can use. You will have a basic idea. Clear? So how to use it, what to use it, we'll use in the next master class, right? These are the notification panel, simple features which you can view, right? This is the cloud shell. So this is the cloud terminal. You can code in here. You can type any code you want. It will run. We won't be using it. It is for advanced users, right? So we won't be using it, the cloud shell. So let's close it. Right. Here is the settings. You can change the theme, light, dark, anything you want. Dark is good, I think. So let's leave it like that. If you click on your name on the top right corner, you can see credits remaining, days remaining, and these are the settings: account ID, account name, organization, everything you can see, right? See all user settings. So yes, you can edit your region, you can edit your theme, everything. These, if you can see, you can edit your account settings. So you can always change your region, you can change your username, password, everything, right? So this is the walkthrough of the cloud platform. It is simple. Everyone can use it. All you need to do is know the basics of cloud. That's it. And in the next masterclass, we are going to learn how we can deploy an application or website from localhost to the cloud. Clear? So that concludes our intensive system architecture. Clear? So yes, as platform achieves scale, data accumulation and everything, you need to be seamlessly running this, the AWS. So you now possess the exact system design roadmap required to couple highly scalable, stateless application servers with durability. You learned about databases, three types of databases: SQL, NoSQL, vector database tiers, while safely loading heavy libraries. You also know the simple walkthrough of AWS, how to use it and all. So in the next masterclass, we'll dive deep into this concept. And yes, if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the chat box. I'll explain. And yes, over to you, Tanmita.
Am I visible? Oh,
Yes.
okay. So, I would request students to this is the time to clear your doubts, and I request my team to turn off on the chat so that if they have any questions regarding the topic, okay, that was discussed by the speaker, you can ask questions to the speaker now, and the rest of the questions or the queries regarding any other regarding platform and other things will be discussed after this. Yes.
So I can see a few doubts. Send Nakshatra app. So as I said, I hosted it on my local server. You need to deploy it. So you cannot use my Nakshatra app because I deployed it on my system. So if I deploy it on the cloud, then you can use it. As I said, in the local file system, only I can use it. Clear? So I can't send you the app. So how does relational database MongoDB? Okay. NoSQL. Give me a second. Uh, Sir, I tried to build an app on Claude, but a little bit. Uh, okay. Okay, sure. So to answer your question, it's confusing because it breaks the code into many parts like Jason. I couldn't understand. Can you please tell me how do I understand and develop an app? So as I said, you should break your steps into few different parts. You should not give a prompt like build an app completely. You need to break it down. As I said, you need to create a product requirement document. You need to go step by step, build an AI front end application, then back end application. You should not ask it all at once. I gave you some prompting techniques, right? Few shot prompting, right? Chain of thought prompting. You need to use such techniques and create an app and get the front end and back end files. Clear? In that way, you can actually make a better app, right? So let's move on to the next question. Uh, just give me a moment. Okay, let's move on to the next question. How does relational database prevent system failures? Will you please explain with the help of an example? Why can't we store volatile data like such as chat logs, chatbot's memory for a specific chat, permanent memory such as hard disk to avoid data loss, power failure? Okay, to clarify your question, how does relational databases handle system failure? Let's start. So, a relational database cannot prevent physical system failures like power outage or hardware crash. However, it will prevent data corruption by adhering to ACID properties, atomicity, durability, right? So, it cannot handle system failure. It can only handle data corruption, right? So, moving on to your next question, why can't we store volatile data chatbots in permanent store memory such as hard disk to avoid data loss during power failure? Okay. If you store all that your website's chat logs or transaction into your local hard disk, there might be a chance of corruption. What if you lose your hard drive? You will lose your entire data. What if the hard drive gets old? What if it gets corrupted? That's why we need to use cloud. We need to store all these chat logs, chatbots memory in the cloud, right? And if we store in the cloud, there won't be any power failure, right? There won't be any fear of losing the data. Clear? So that's the reason why we should not store in the local hard drive. Clear? I hope it clears your doubt. Sir, is this is kind of same as Google Cloud Console? Yeah, almost the same. Like you saw the platform, right? I gave a walkthrough through it. Like it's simple, it's fast. All you need to do is know the basics of it, right? Okay. Sir, I have one doubt. After creating the website uh, and hosting on local server, we can use Railway. I didn't get the question because to host on the local server, you don't need Railway. Railway is like a cloud. So you can use Railway, but we are using AWS to store it more better. For a safer alternative, we are opting for AWS. Of course, you can use Railway also or Supabase, but for hosting on local server, we don't need any of such apps. Clear? Oh, when I create a folder, try to access in terminal, it shows path not found. Okay, when you try to create a folder in a terminal, it shows path not found. It might be because you might have given the wrong folder name, right? So you should go to the folder, right click on it and open it on the terminal. Like for suppose I'll show you how. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. 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 For suppose this is my app, Nakshatra. Go to your folder, right click, open in terminal. So it opens CD Nakshatra, enter CD backend. So this is how you need to navigate your file. If you do this, you won't get that error. Clear? Okay, sir, I have one doubt after creating. Sir, can I directly extract the app which I generate from Claude into the phone? No, you cannot. You cannot extract the app into your phone. You need a PC. You need a laptop or a system to deploy the app locally. You cannot do it on phone, right? Because phones, we need a Windows terminal for it to run it locally. Phone doesn't have that, so you cannot. Sir, do we need to deploy the app onto AWS for the final deliverable? Yes. That's the final deliverable of yours where you need to deploy the app on the cloud. We couldn't upload learning part. That's it. Tanmita, the speaker, the host will clear all your platform doubts. If you have any technical doubts, you can ask me. Any more doubts? Any more questions? You can ask in the chat box. People who raise their hand. I tried to build an app using Claude AI, but free version lets me complete a few steps before stopping, asking me to upgrade. So how am I supposed to build it? It doesn't work on Gemini either. It has some credits on free plan. Today you can use only this much. Tomorrow you can use a bit more. Every day you get some credits. So you need to use it wisely. So as I said, you can create 3 different Claude accounts using 3 emails and use it. You get more credits. You can if you finish credits of one account, you can go to other account and use. Clear? Do we always have to use command prompt to run the app, or we can create a shortcut? It's not command prompt, it's Windows terminal. So we always need to use Windows terminal to run the app locally. There is no shortcut to it. The shortcut is deploying it on cloud, right? Sir, I have done in the codex. Right, fine. You can also do in the codex, whichever AI app you want. Sir, if my app is a real-time app, so do I have to build a database for it, or I can avoid it? You need to build a database for it because, as I say, it's like a RAM. Whatever the user stores, it will clear. So you need to use a database for it. Why AWS over other cloud? You see, AWS has many features compared to other cloud. Just now I showed you there are many features which you can use. Also, there is $129 of usage which you won't get in others. So yeah, that's why we opt for AWS. Sir, then how the apps we use on phones deployed? As you said, there is no Windows terminal. You see, to build phone apps, we need to use Flutter. We used Express.js, Node.js to build a website. or a Windows application. To build mobile apps, we need to use Flutter. It's other coding language which is used to build Android apps and iOS apps. It's different from this website building. Clear? So that is a topic of other masterclass, other domain, which we won't be covering it now. Sir, please send us the Nakshatra app link. As I said, you cannot use it. Even if I send the link, you cannot use it because I deployed it on my local system. To use it, you also need to deploy it on your local system, right? So once I deploy it on the cloud, I will send the link. Sir, I made a web after Masterclass 2. Can I use Google Gemini API keys? Yes, you can use it, Google Gemini keys, because it's free. Sir, how do we give prompt to get all front-end and back-end code at once and get the application? No way. You will get application errors. You should not do that. You need to do step-by-step prompting to get a perfectly running app. If you give a prompt all at once to, get all the back-end and front-end code, it will get error. So what you need to do is first create the artifact, step 1, and then ask for front-end and back-end code. Right? That's what I done in the previous masterclass. Sir, so we have to choose the topic of the project on our own idea. Yes, you can choose your own website or application to deploy on the cloud. Sir, how can we, and when we need to add S3 instances from AWS, we'll look at that in the next masterclass, how we can use S3 instances to deploy our app on the cloud. Do we need to host the app only on AWS? It's your choice. You can host it on any other platform, but we use AWS. So how to create a folder of Nakshatra? Just you cannot create, like, whatever you're building, you need to ask AI. It will give the front end and back end files. You need to extract the files and run it on the Windows terminal, right? You cannot create a folder of Nakshatra. Sir, can we use any language for a web app? We have to create, like I want to use Django framework. Yes, you can use Python fast API or Django framework, anything you want. Right, I think that's it. I think I cleared all your doubts. And for people who are asking to repeat the concepts again, one guy asked me to repeat the concept of, just give me a moment, of S3 instance, I think. And other guy asked to repeat the concept of the types of databases. So what you can do is you can watch the YouTube link again and recover all the concepts and recollect it and watch it whenever you like. Clear? As we are running out of time and our hosts need to clear the platform queries as well. So we are wrapping up here. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session. So
Thank you
yes.
so much, Praneeth, for such an informative and engaging session. And today's masterclass gave us a valuable insights into AWS and its role in modern cloud computing. And also the walkthrough has helped us to understand better its environment and the various services it offers. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude for sharing your knowledge and experience and valuable time with all of us. And your guidance continues to inspire and motivate all our participants along with me. And yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to the next masterclass with the same enthusiasm and excitement. Thank you so much, Mr. Pranay. So, students, now is the time. Now is the time. I will be taking you through the dashboard again. But before doing that, some there's one thing I want to let you all know. It's about the learning plan. See, we have been tracking your progress and we have seen like majorly students have completed their learning plan. But there are still some students who did not, and their learning plan shows in progress. Okay. So the thing is that the dashboard issue will be resolved within few days. But then you all won't have the time to just upload it. And also that's why I request all of you to like start working on your learning plan, complete it. Because as part of this internship we regularly track your learning progress, and your learning plan completion status forms an important part of your internship record and consolidated progress as well. So these reports may be shared with your respective college faculties also, because there are huge number of students from each institutes who have participated, right? So I request, sorry, all of you to please complete your learning plan. Who, if you have done it half till now, complete the rest of the activities and keep your certificates ready, because now you are seeing that the dashboard is showing some issues, but it will be resolved in within few days. So yeah, uh, have you all understood? Like, I appreciate the ones who have already completed their learning plan, but this is for those who have done it half, not completed yet. So we are able to see who have done half and not, and okay. So I just request all of you to complete everything on time. Now is the time where I will first first I will walk you through the dashboard steps again, because see, why am I showing you the dashboard again? Because there are some queries that I have received where students are asking about, ma'am, the email ID of my team member is wrong, right? So there are some issues which you as a team leader can solve it. So for that, you don't need us. Okay. So that's why let me share my screen and I will show you. See, I will show you two things. One, the dashboard steps again and what you can do to resolve that issue. Second is the query form, because I can see students not using the 5 points which we have already mentioned. Okay, so that also creates some confusion among us as well to resolve your issues. So yeah, this is the platform. Okay, so I am opening it using my ID. Please keep your eye on the screen. So when I type my ID here first, then I click here, select your college. Select your college means you have to be very clear while you select your college. Sometimes students select the wrong college name as well. Okay. So I am choosing BharatCares. BharatCares is not for you all. You are going to put your college name. We are just using BharatCares as an example to show you how you can search your college name and log in. Okay. Now I have clicked on BharatCares and I'm clicking on logging in. Now you can see the dashboard. This is the dashboard and I am the team leader. I'm focusing on the role of the team leader in the dashboard. Okay. I am the team leader. Now I have 3 members in my team. Okay, what I can do is, you can see there's a, okay, let's start from the very beginning. One second. Like, you can see drive integration active. Okay, unique ID, college name, pin code, internship name, total team members mentioned, total female team members mentioned, team leader name. Okay. Team leader email ID is also there. So many of you are asking questions on submit concept note, right? About the concept note. So first, let me make this topic clear. This topic will be shared by your speaker, Mr. Pranit Palli, on your masterclass 5. When you will be attending the masterclass 5, he will be discussing about this, what is concept note. Okay, for now forget about the concept note because this will be covered by your speaker. Okay, now come to this portion, which is submit final deliverable. This is your final project submission uh, portion. Okay, which you haven't yet started working on. Okay, so for this, also you need to first be aware of your project, complete it, and then use it. So these two are not for now. Okay, but this will be discussed by your speaker only. This specifically, the submit concept note part will be introduced to you all by your speaker. This part is your final deliverable submission, which is your final project that you are going to work on. Okay. Now come this part. Team member, list of team members you can see, right? Now this is the edit portion. I am able to see the edit because I am the team leader and I have used my ID to log in. Now I can see the edit portion. What I can edit as a team member, and this portion, students, this portion is going to clear half of your problem, which is related to your wrong IDs, wrong IDs of the team members. Okay. So if I click edit and if I see my team member's name is incorrect or ID is incorrect, I can change it to the correct one. Okay. I can change it to the correct one and then my team member can log in using the correct ID, which is here I have attached also. I have corrected also. This is the work of the team leader. So if a team has a member of 5 or 2 or 3, it's completely fine. You can kindly ask your team member to log in. If he is able to log in, he can log in and he can change your wrong ID into the correct one. Okay, then he can save changes correctly. Click on save changes. Now this member of from my team is not a co-lead. Okay, I can make him as co-lead and also make him primary leader as well. So these are some of the edits which I can make as a team leader. Okay, and I can also submit my team members learning plans by clicking on here. See, if I click on, this is my certificate portion which I can upload. I can also upload my co-leads and my other team members as well. Okay. See, I have clicked on my other team members certificate upload option, and this is the view sample certificate where you can view. This is my certificate. Okay. Okay, wait. So now if I want to upload, I can click here and upload my team members certificate, learning plan completion certificate, where Ria Thapliyal name will be mentioned. So if you are uploading somebody else's name certificate, it will not get uploaded. You have to upload the correct completion certificate under each of the team members' name. Done. Then you click on upload. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So this is clear. Now as a co-lead, I can again, let me copy her ID. So as a co-lead also, I can do what? I can upload my team members certificate if my team leader is not able to use that or do that. Okay. Use that or do that means he might be busy, or she might be occupied with something else, and you might need to take over the task. So you can do one thing, you can log in, and the co-lead can also log in. So I'm again putting my college name as BharatCares, and I am, sorry, BharatCares, and I am clicking on login. Correct? Now, what did I do? I used my co-lead's ID to enter. As a co-lead, what I can do is upload each of the team member certificates. Correct? All but the difference is that I cannot see the edit option here. See, the edit option is only for the team members, and the perks of this is that the team member can resolve half of this issue which the students are sending us, right? The team members' IDs are not correct. You can, as a team leader, you can log in and clear, like, change your team member's ID. Wait. Yeah, this, the co-lead cannot change that. Only the team member, only the team leader can change your email ID if it is wrong. Is it clear? Show me thumbs up. Is this question clear for all? Like the issue many of you are facing about wrong IDs, team members know wrong IDs. The team leader can change that. Correct? The team leader can log in. Now I know many of you have this question that, ma'am, I myself can't log in. My email ID is only showing invalid and I am the team leader. So this is some of the technical issue we are facing. But for those, because it's not like all the students are facing this issue, some have successfully uploaded on the dashboard. Okay, I will read out few of the, I have my team has made a list of queries where which we read through the query form. We found it through the query forms also. Some of the common queries that we have received. So now I will just give you some answers to your queries. Okay, I will read out those and I'll answer that. Just a second. Yeah. So the first query that we received, a common query that we received is upload taking time. So this is maybe because of the internet connection. Okay, upload taking time. The query which is upload taking time is maybe low internet connection. Okay, showing in next query that we received is showing invalid name, internship name. Okay, learner name and track name on dashboard has to match with names on certificate, right? So learner name and track name on dashboard has to match with names on certificate. Okay. Leaders, again, team leaders can edit your name. If it is coming wrong, team leaders can enter and edit your ID and as well as your name if it is coming wrong. Okay. The third issue that we received is server error, drive not created, member not found. Okay. This issue we are resolving in the backend, and I request all of you to be patient for that. Okay. I know there's nothing to worry that we are leaving you all behind and we are moving forward. No. And Krishna Chaturvedi, I heard you. I saw so many of your messages. I saw it. I have replied. I request students to check their chat box. I have replied to many of your queries. Okay. Almost all I have replied in your chat box as well. So I request you all to check that. Now, the fourth query that we received is college name missing. Okay. So check thoroughly. I request you to check thoroughly if it's still not there. And we are also adding that in the backend. So for students who have not used the dashboard query form, uh, for once also, I request them to use the dashboard query form to reach out to us. But for those who have used the dashboard query form, you can stop here. Don't have to keep on sending the query. We are looking and we are working on the backend. Okay. Now, some of you have asked that is your submission is reflecting. Yes, it will show on the dashboard if successful, if successfully completed, and it will reflect on the IBM SkillsBuild platform backend too, from where we are able to track your progress. Okay. Now about the removal of team member, adding team member, okay, and whether they can continue individually. But this kind of queries you can reach out to us using the simple query form. Now you can see there are so many query forms. One is for offer letter query form, one is for dashboard query form, and other is for simple query form for questions related to the internship and members adding, removing, all these things. So all these links will be shared in all your WhatsApp groups. Okay. Now about the concept note and final project. It is part of your final project, final deliverable, and it will be announced in the last masterclass, which I already told you that in the masterclass 5 you are going to get updates on your final project. Okay, correct. And some of you also did ask about resume and LinkedIn. This is optional. You can share if you have, or if not, that's fine. That is optional. Okay. Am I clear? Like, are you all clear? I know all of your queries are revolving around all these topics that I have covered just now, right? Now, have you understood the dashboard steps? I can say, okay, please open the chat box for 1 minute. I will take some queries and then I request my team members to turn off the chat box and yeah, okay. Not able to open your chats. Okay, okay. It's opening. Wait. So many. Okay, please turn off the chat. I'm not able to move it. See, first, Arnav Anand. Certificate is, we are not going to issue your learning plan completion certificate. It is, you are going to take it, download it from the platform. And we have explained the steps also how you can claim your certificates and as well as the badge. For that, if you don't remember in case, then I request you to go through the orientation recording that we have attached on the resource document. So that resource document link has also been shared in all the WhatsApp groups. You can rewatch it, how to claim the certificate, and you can get the certificate. Second, your second query is not clear to me. Arnav Anand. Okay, see, any question regarding the dashboard I have covered, right, students? So I can see only questions that are very similar, and I have answered all of these. That we are extending the deadline to July 6th, 5th, and 6th. So you can start try sending from 5th again. And we are working on the back end. So this sentence I have repeated quite some time, right? So I request you all to listen to me very carefully because these queries that I am seeing on the chat box, it has been covered by us. We are just requesting you to have a bit patience and complete your learning plan, those who have not yet completed. Because see, the dashboard issue, we are taking care of it. There are issues, but it's not like all the students were not able to submit. Many of them did able to submit their learning plan certificate on the dashboard. That means it is working for many of the students, right? But Also, there are some technical issues that are going on. That's why many of you could not upload it. So this can be anything, in showing invalid, college name not shown, email ID wrong and name wrong can be resolved by you. It by you only. Okay, that I have shown during the dashboard walkthrough again. That as a team leader, when you log into the dashboard, you can see the edit option here. Okay, so I in this page I am logged in as a co-lead. So co-lead can only upload the certificates of the team members. So it is work, the dashboard is working for me and many other students. But for those for whom it is not working, the platform is not working, we are asking you to wait for few days. That we have extended the deadline and we are working on the backend to make sure you all submit smoothly. Okay, but in the chat box, when I'm asking you all to share your queries, you are repeating the same thing. Okay. And many of you are also sending the same messages over and over again, which I have covered, right? So I request you to not like spam the chat box, I request, because there are many queries that get lost in between the repeated messages. So please, students, I request to share once your queries so that I can address it. Okay, so students, I request my team member to share the attendance link in the chat box and in all the WhatsApp groups. Okay, I hope you all have received a WhatsApp message during me explaining about the learning plan. I requested my team member in the backend to share a message on learning plan completion for those who have not yet completed their learning plan. Okay, now I request my team members to share the attendance form link in the chat box and also in all the WhatsApp groups. See, students, all we are asking you to be little patient, okay, regarding the dashboard. These are when we are working on an online platform. This is a generic thing I'm sharing with you all, okay. So when we are working on platforms, we should be like we know that there's some technical issue that might arise, okay, and we have to be prepared for that. And we are working on that, and you are not just 10-15 students who are using the dashboard. It's a huge number of students who are using the dashboard at the same time, okay. So the platform sometimes crashes all as well, okay. You all also know that. So I request all of you, for other issues we are working on the back end, our team is working on the back end. And for those of you who have not used the dashboard query form or the offer letter query form, right, use it to reach out to us. We are issuing. Okay, I just want to ask students like who all did not got your offer letters before, then we generated it. You did receive your offer letters later on, right? After those of you who have used the query forms in a correct way. So okay, there's one more thing I want to show you, is that this is the query form. Okay, this is the query form. Can you see my screen? This is the query form. Show me thumbs ups if yes. Show me some thumbs ups if you can see my query form screen. Not this one, this one. Okay. So those of you who are using the dashboard query form, when you open the query form, you first click on this record, your ID will come. You click on that. Then you choose any of this. I want to just show you all that there are 5 options present. And many students are just clicking on other option and writing the whole thing down. No, first read these topics as well. Request to update the internship track name. This is one of the issue that students do face, but they are still clicking on other. But I want you to, if you are facing this issue, you need to click here. And if you are facing issue regarding request to add a new member to an existing team, you need to click here, right? We have already added the options of the issues you might face or you are facing, right? Request to create a new team or add an individual. Click here. Request to remove a team member. Those of you who want to remove team members, you can click here simply. You don't have to write a whole paragraph on that. Okay. So request to add or change college name, you can simply click here. And then you can move on to the next, right? First, let me record that. I am choosing one of my, maybe I am having issue regarding create a new team member or add an individual. I am clicking on here. I am not clicking on others and then writing a whole paragraph. Okay. Then I am clicking on next. And then I am putting my team name here, my internship name. I am choosing the course Gen AI, right? Gen AI, right? Then I am adding details of my team members. Team member 1, team member ID 1, team member 2, team member ID, their name and ID, their name and ID, right? Their name and ID, right? Then I am clicking on submit. Done. But don't, before clicking on this dashboard query issues, read all the 5 points. Okay? Understood, students? Show me some thumbs up if yes. Are you all clear? Okay, my team has shared the attendance form link as well. No, the deadline has been extended, Gungun. I have repeated this that we have extended the deadline to 6th July now, but you can start uh, trying to upload it from 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th. If not, you can try it on 4th, you can try it on 5th. We are working on the back end. If it takes more time, we will update you. We will also update you regarding the Masterclass 5 as well. Okay. So just keep an eye on the WhatsApp and the messages that we share in all the WhatsApp groups. These are very important for you to look. Okay. And I request team members to not repeat the same questions that I have already covered. I know you all are eagerly waiting for like to upload your learning plan completion, but you also have to be little patient to understand that there's some issues that are going on with the dashboard, and we are resolving it. Okay, we are resolving that issue, and by that time you can reach out to me on my mail ID. And but see, first, I want you all to use the query forms for each of these issues. For dashboard, there is one query form. For offer letter, there is one query form. And for general queries, there is another query form, right? So first use that. If you have already used that, then fine. No need to use it twice or thrice. Okay, don't repeat your queries again and again. But if you have not used your forms ever for once also, I request you to use that and reach out to us. Okay. 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 Thank you, guys. I think all these queries that I seen on my screen, I have covered all of those. See, Shrutika, I have already explained this. The dashboard, it is showing like invalid email or college ID. So, see, I just walked you all through the dashboard, right? How you can change your like for showing invalid email ID, I request all of you that we are working on the back end, okay? And we have extended the deadline also. So you don't have to worry about late submissions, because also at the beginning of today's session, I have shown you all how your certificates reflect the date when you have completed your learning plan. So there's nothing to worry that you have submitted it later on. Like you have, the deadline has just, we have extended the deadline. So there's nothing to worry regarding late submissions. Okay. For invalid IDs, we are working on that. For wrong IDs that you see for of your team members, as a team leader, you can change your team members' wrong IDs and wrong names. Okay, your name and your profile name in the platform name should match. So you change that as a team leader. Okay. My one team member is not showing in the dashboard, Hamad Ahmed. So all these things I have covered, right? So if your team member is not showing in the dashboard, you reach out to us through the dashboard query form that my team will, after this we wrap up this session, they will share in all the WhatsApp groups again. So use that to reach out to us. Add your team member's name, ID. We will add in the backend. Okay, we will add in the backend. That's how we have resolved many of the students' issues. So those of you whose issues have not yet been resolved, I want you to follow these steps. Use the query form, dashboard query form, or those of you didn't receive your offer letter, use the offer letter query form. If you have already used that, mail us. We are working on the back end. You have to be little patient. Okay. Thank you, students. I hope I have cleared all your doubts. Right. See you in the next masterclass. Till then, start working on your learning plan. The dashboard issue might get solved tomorrow also. You don't know. We are working on the back end, right? So I want all of your learning plan completion certificate ready in your hands. When we say this is working, you just upload it. Okay? Correct, guys? Okay. Thank you so much. You all can drop off now.